Okay, so I am back and I have my hair up. And I don't have my phone notifications turned off, so this thing keeps making all kinds of noise. Hopefully that helps. Anyway, you can see the mess of a room I have behind me. Now, I have the door to my closet open, and the air conditioner is on, and the ceiling fan is on. If my gain is still the same as it was in the last video, and if I sit here quietly, the air conditioner is registering it like, what is that? I don't know what that number is. Like, I don't know. Negative 32 decibels. That's not good. I don't know much, but I know that's not good. The other thing that I am just really, really tickled by is, yeah, my face does all kinds of crazy things. And you know what? I've known this for a while. My sophomore year of college, I was in a pageant and I thought I had a pretty good chance, but when they came to the part where they were asking the contestants their questions, I saw this later on VHS. That's how, yeah, it was VHS. When they came to ask the contestants their questions, this is what I did. So there's my microphone, and I'm like, well, rolling my eyes like I have, like, you all are wasting all my time, and why am I even here with you people? That's what my face looked like. So, you know, you've heard of resting bitch face. I have like animated bitch face, and resting bitch face. So I just look bitchy all the time. Yeah, good times. So that's why voice acting is perfect for me, because as I was picking out a thumbnail for that last video, yeah, my face is a hot mess. And I don't know that I could control that. Yeah, it wasn't cute. It was funny though, because watching it backwards, it looked like I was speaking French. So maybe if I play it backwards, it'll be something in French. Doubt it. Anyway, so it's going to be interesting to see what this sounds like once. Now this again is the door open and the ceiling fan on, so I would expect there to be quite a bit of background noise or floor noise, or my noise floor to be high or low. I don't know. Is a big negative number high, or is a big negative number low? I know that negative 60 is where I would like it to be. Is negative 30 higher or lower than negative 60? Is that a bigger noise floor or a smaller noise floor? I'm guessing it's bigger, because it's, my children could probably explain it to me. So a couple of things that I learned from the office setup I had before that I am hoping to avoid in this arrangement. One, I did have to keep moving around the microphone. I not only does my face do all kinds of bizarre contortions, but I talk with my hands. The other thing it looked like I was doing in the video was sign language when I was trying to find the thumbnail. And yeah, I did choose that thumbnail on purpose, and it was not the most unattractive one I could find, despite what you may think. So that was one of the issues that the eyeball posed. There were a number of issues the eyeball posed regardless of the sound quality. I kept bumping into it, and if any contact with the microphone gets picked up, any contact with any part of it gets picked up. So I kept either hitting it with my shoulder, or hitting it with my face, or hitting it with the back of the chair, because it's probably about 9 inches in diameter. I also could not see around it. And because of the foam, because I think with this microphone, I should be able to be picked up for the setting I have around 180 degrees. It shouldn't hear me as much from behind, but yeah, you can't see my microphone. But it should be picking me up from the front. But with the foam on the eyeball, if I went to any direction, even a little bit, my volume changed. So to be able to see the words that I was reading, I had to maneuver myself around the eyeball. So that was really not an ideal situation. The other thing I noticed was the little tabletop desk I have. So here it is. It's not super steady, especially since the other half of it is out there. Yeah, remember I said it was an L-shaped desk? You see that? Yeah, those are some legs from an old laundry hamper that I taped to each other and to the other end of the desk so that it wouldn't fall down, because it's supposed to be attached to the part in here. But anyway, anytime I moved, if any part of the mic stand was touching my desk and I touched the desk, it caused the, you picked up the noise. So I have the legs arranged. I also just realized, I've had this stuff for like 6 months. I just realized that I could tighten the tripod legs of my mic stand. I thought they had to be flat. I didn't know that that there was a little place where I could stick an Allen wrench and tighten them. So I actually, there have been a lot of things that I've run into, but I've positioned the legs so that they're at an angle where it's almost like this. Like I have the two in the back lower. Because the mic is so heavy, I have to have the boom. I have to have the long skinny thing coming off of the tall pole thing. Because of physics, if this heavy microphone, which probably weighs 5 pounds, maybe 8, I don't know, it's not light, but obviously the farther out it is, the more weight. So I had to adjust the, I was keeping the boom parallel with the one leg of the tripod, so that leg was offsetting the weight from the microphone so it wouldn't fall forward, which worked okay when the microphone stand was completely flat. But again, having the legs on this stand are probably 12 inches long each, so that required me to have 12 inches in 3 different directions, probably at least a 24-inch radius of leg space, and that stuck out into the middle of the room. So I figured out how to make the front leg a little taller. I made the back legs a little, I pulled them out so that they're spread farther apart, and then my mic stand is angled a little, and then the boom comes off, so it's almost like the number 7. Instead of a 90-degree thing like this, it's more like this. And so far it's holding up. Now they have little knobs on here. I found that pliers helped tremendously, because the other thing that kept happening was this little thing. We're gonna go around, and I hate the color of this room, so it will be changed. This little thing here is what's supposed to tighten this, which is supposed to keep this at whatever angle I set it at. I'm not very strong, and I'm not very good at tightening that. And so my mic would just slowly, sometimes not so slowly, just be lowering. And yeah, that was a pain in the butt too. So yeah, pliers. I actually did tighten that pretty well with my hands. But this way, I feel like, one, I can get more people in here. So if I wanted to record with my kids, we both could fit on this side comfortably and be picked up by the microphone without us having to have our faces like right here in the little eyeball hole. Although I really do like the way that sounds. So I needed the microphone stand to be somewhere where if I, in all my gesticulations, hit the table, it's not gonna bump the mic stand. I needed the mic stand to preferably not be somewhere where my kids were going to bump into it or where I was going to bump into it, just walking to get to my chair. Like I said before, I took the back and arms off of the chair. The room is small enough that if I do close the door and in my old age need to rest my aching bones, my back, I can actually lean against the wall. See, look at that. I'm all cozy. So you can see now I've closed the door and the air conditioner just went off. So that's not going to be a very good comparison. But I just feel... So there are a lot of beginner mistakes that I have made. And some have been more costly than others. Some have been more humiliating than others. But, you know, live and learn. So I learned that I need the mic out of the way. I'd like it to be somewhere where I could, if I wanted to sit and record or stand and record, that really the only difference I needed to do was adjust the height of the mic. I don't want to have to reposition a lot of things. And even though this setup looks really crazy, I mean, it really looks, it's not very aesthetically pleasing, and I'm definitely going to have to, you know, finish painting. Like, I didn't get rid of the yellow in the corner and it's reflecting off my face. It's much more functional, and at the end of the day, function trumps cuteness, especially when we're going for sound. Also, hopefully I will be able to do some other modifications to really minimize the effect that the air conditioner has, because I don't want to have to turn it off every time I'm recording, for a number of reasons, but not just because it gets hot. Like, I don't want to have to walk all the way down a thermostat every time. I want to be able to open the door while I'm editing and have cool air come in. So yeah. You know, I did not know anything about anything when I started this, and I'm glad I started, but I would do some things differently. I am pleased overall with my equipment. I really like my microphone. The hardest thing for me has been finding so I have this Audient ID14 interface, and that's the thing that the microphone plugs into, and then it plugs into the computer. figuring out how to work that, even just enough to get by, combined with finding the right software. When I recorded the audiobook, I did it in my brother-in-law's studio, and he uses Studio One, I believe. So that's what the audiobook was recorded in, and then I edited it in Audacity, which is free, and it was pretty, cut and dry. There weren't a lot of bells and whistles, and so it was fairly easy to use, except that I was doing it on a laptop, and again, I do have this weird mouth click. It's not a plosive, it's not a pop, it's like it's not that loud, but it's awful. And I had to go through and manually take each one of those out. And doing that on a laptop without a mouse, my hand kind of, I turned in, I had to wear like a brace on my hand for probably a week before I could make a fist again, because my hand had cramped up so much from the weeks I spent editing. It took me a really long time. So one of the things I invested in is a trackball, so that I don't have to, oh gosh, that just was not a good experience. So the other good thing about the trackball is it doesn't move, so I don't need a lot of desk space for it. I can edit my sound without having to drag a mouse and whatnot, and that's important. So on my desk, I have a keyboard, and I have that. I put my monitors actually on a TV tray. Well, here, I'll take my camera off the thing. My monitor's on a TV tray on the other side of the desk, and behind the monitor is my computer. That is my little Mac Mini. This is what my phone is sitting on. My monitor does not have a webcam, so I had to install an app on my phone and computer that allows my iPhone to act as a webcam. And so far, it's getting the job done. I survived Zoom workshop with it, doctor's appointment, so you can hear me, right? I got this little thing at IKEA for, I don't know, $5, that I can put my copy on. I can hang my headphones on. So that stays on my desk. And that's about it. And my glasses, because I'm old and blind. Yeah. But I can see the monitor now. So realistically, I could probably turn the mic a little bit or not, depending on how it sounds. And I can read from my computer monitor. Again, the eyeball obstructed that significantly, as did the desk setup, because I didn't have this arrangement. So it's a learning process, and I think some of it is just being in the space and seeing what works for you, and like realistically, okay, how much do I get up? How much do I move around? But I knew I wanted the mic out of the way. I did not want that to constantly be something that was getting bumped into. That's just a pain in the butt. And, this thing was not cheap. None of this was cheap, and I spent a lot of money, and I spent some well and some not so well. The trackball was very, very well spent. That money was a good investment. But this wasn't meant to be a pep talk, but I think I kind of needed one, because I have felt really frustrated / embarrassed / major imposter syndrome. I posted about that the other day, because of so many of the roadblocks I bumped into. Oh, I was talking about the DAW. the software that you use to edit your sound. So when you record, then it comes up in sound waves, and you gotta cut and paste and delete any of the things that your outtakes or whatever, which I don't know how to do any of that with video. That's why you get all of my long ramblings. Don't know anything about video editing. See, I could delete that. And it's not really top on my list right now. But I also used Adobe Audition for the We Don't Talk About Bruno mix, and Audition was really easy to use. When I bought my interface, I got a Steinberg, like a free Steinberg package or something, and that came with Cubase elements. I don't have Adobe Audition. I just borrowed my husband's to do the editing, but I do have Cubase on my computer. The Mac comes with GarageBand. I just have not been able to get a handle on that. I don't know if it's just me, if it's us, I don't know. I have tried and I don't like it. I have not recorded in Audacity. Well, I've recorded in GarageBand and I've recorded in Audacity, and Audacity sounds muffled, but what I like about Audacity is that there is a plugin that I can use to make sure that my file meets criteria for ACX, which is the Audiobook Creation and Exchange, I believe is what that stands for. But they're the ones who put audiobooks on Audible. That's who I submitted my audiobook through. And it has these different specifications, and I don't know what any of that means. I don't know how to set up any of my software so that my end result comes out meeting those specifications. So somebody put together a handy dandy checklist of there are like 3 things you do, and to whatever. So I record in one thing, I take that WAV file, I import it into Audacity, I do those things, and when I run the ACX check, it passes. So whatever. I don't need to know how I don't really need to know how it works. The only reason why that would be helpful is if I could avoid having to go through Audacity and just do everything in whatever bit of software, it would save me that headache. But all in all, I am learning, and it is not fun. It is not fun making mistakes. It's not fun spending money that you feel like, you got ripped off. Several people, none of which who sold the Kaotica Eyeball, but several people recommended it to me. And as I got more familiar with voice recording, it seems to not be an ideal piece of equipment. And it was not cheap. And some people are like, oh my gosh, you're a fool if you bought this. No one has said that to me, but those are the comments that I've seen, and it doesn't feel good to feel like a fool. The people who recommended it, did it in good faith. And I actually used that when I recorded Bruno, and it might be good for singing, which will be very fun for me, because Bruno was fun. But that thing costs $200. It's a foam ball with a pop filter, and not knowing any better and getting multiple the guy on Sweetwater recommended it, the guy at the music store The music equipment store recommended it. A musician I had met recommended it. So, and that was why I had posted the other day that I think it was on my story that, you know, well-meaning musicians can give advice that doesn't necessarily translate well to voiceover acting. So if I can save you a little bit of money, a little bit of time, a little bit of frustration, and everyone apparently feels similarly about this. I believe it's RX7 and there might be an RX8. It's Izotope, Izotope. RX7 has a declicker that I ran all my sound through, and that was very helpful. I don't have that software either. I borrowed that from my husband, and my husband has a Windows computer and I have a Mac, and that is a little bit of a problem because his stuff doesn't, like, I can't just put it on my computer. I have to actually use his computer. So, you know, software costs money, workshops cost money, equipment costs money, and that audiobook I did, oh, that's been the most painful lesson. An audiobook pays, well, they pay in different ways. Some are like royalty share, where anytime the book sells a copy, you get a certain percentage. A lot of gigs are paid per finished hour. So let's say I read a book and that book takes an hour to listen to. Once it's done, let's say it's an hour-long book. That is the time frame that you're getting paid for. So you want to charge, they say for every hour of completed production, you're looking at about 6 hours of work. For me, it was like an hour for every minute because I didn't know what I was doing. It took me forever to edit that book, and it was so painful. I was so upset. It was very emotionally taxing, and I haven't done one since. But that book was only like an hour and 15 minutes. And I'm not going to tell you the rate that I got paid per finished hour, but it was just shy above what I got paid hourly as a social worker. How about that? Yeah, apparently you're supposed to charge like $250 to $300. And the author, you know, I let her know. We were both new to audiobooks. She was, this was her first audiobook. This was the first book she'd written that she'd had made into audio, and this was my first time doing an audiobook. I don't know if she lowballed me on purpose or if she just didn't know any better. And she has, like, I don't know, 8 other books, and she talked about working together in the future, and she was extremely accommodating because I did not meet my deadline. I didn't meet my second deadline. It took me a very, very long time to get that book edited. And again, she was very, very understanding, very kind, and very chill, laid back, actually. But I told her, I said, you know, the rate is, just so you know, going forward, you know, I didn't know this, but, you know, the rate is calculated by how long the finished book is. And it's roughly like $250 to $300 an hour is what I should have asked for. That is the respectable asking price. So just so you know, yeah. If I do another one, it won't be for my social work rate. And she didn't mention anything more about moving on together as a partnership, which is okay. You know, when I had posted about that, Johnny Heller had reached out. He told me to give him a call, and I called him, and he really was probably just like, oh, Lord have mercy, this poor child. This alarm is here to remind me to eat, because if I don't set an alarm, I'll forget to eat. But anyway, so it's going to keep going off every 5 minutes until I eat or stop. No, it's going to go off every 5 minutes till I eat. But Johnny told me, he was like, you know, if we both got cast in a Broadway show and we were both part of the ensemble, we would get paid the ensemble rate. He was like, just because you're new doesn't mean that you should undersell yourself. You are providing a valuable service. You have a skill that you are providing. And basically he was like, girl, know your worth. And you know, that was a really, that is a nugget that I will keep with me, you know, forever. And I think that translates over into, you know, many situations and scenarios. But I will not ever, unless it's like my own book or my husband's book, do a book for what I did that one for. Not to mention the fact that I did do a significant bit of editing with the text. I guess not all books that you get are, I don't know if they've been edited before or they're not necessarily well written. I don't know. But again, the author was really accommodating, and I really liked her material. And there were just some things I said, hey, if we word this a little differently, you know, it'll flow better, or this is a little redundant or whatever. But that also took time. And, you know, I don't know if that's something that other people run into. I don't know what they do when they run into that. Because you don't want to take on work that's not yours, but at the same time, if you are narrating a book, your name becomes attached to that book, whether you wrote it or not. So you want for both you and the author to provide a quality product. So, you know, like I said, it's stuff I've learned the hard way, and they've been valuable but expensive lessons. And today's a new day, like Scarlett O'Hara said. Tomorrow's another day, I think is what she said. And it'll be better than, it can't be worse. I know more than I did. I know a lot more than I did. The other thing I did that was really helpful was I finally joined some Facebook groups, specifically for voiceover and one for ACX narrators. I was really struggling because I didn't know who to ask for help. You know, nobody in my world does voiceover, so nobody really knew exactly how to help me. So finding my tribe has been helpful in the same way that I mean, almost like a support group. I mean, and I just joined these groups. I don't even think I've posted anything other than hey, but it's just nice to see people, you know, dealing with some of the same issues that I've had, and seeing some people have asked questions that I have. So saving me the trouble of having to ask them. You know, I can search and get the answers. I look like a raccoon. But no one can do it alone, and I'm coming to accept that. And what I also have found about the voiceover community is they really do seem, I mean, it really seems like a very supportive community. It's not like people are stepping on each other's throats, trying to get ahead. I think everyone wants to see everyone else succeed. And I think everyone kind of gets how difficult it is to get there. So I appreciate that. I need that, especially since currently my job is paying $0 and is out of a closet. It's a lonely, not lucrative world for me right now. And so, yeah, I need all the good vibes I can get. And so that's been helpful as well. You know, just finding people to connect with. But like I said, I didn't intend for this to be this long. I just kind of wanted to talk about the things I did in my studio and how I learned what to do better or differently. And now it's like 36 minutes long, and nobody's going to watch a 36-minute video that I don't know how to edit and make shorter. So yeah, if you made it this far, thank you. And pray I learn how to edit videos.